Hello, Elizabeth here, and today I'm going to show you how I made this rhinestone conversation heart. I kept seeing non-rhinestone versions of this done on TikTok, and I thought it was such a cute idea for home decor and would make a really great rhinestone project. I'm gonna walk you through everything step by step. I started with this 6-inch styrofoam heart that's actually meant for decorating fake cakes. It has sharp edges, so I used some sandpaper to just smooth those down a bit and make the shape look more like a real conversation heart candy. Next, I gave it a base coat of this blue acrylic paint that I got at the dollar store. It's really close to the color of the rhinestones I'll be using, so it will help blend any gaps between the stones and make the color pop. Next, I added the red letters with the classic Be Mine message to use as a guide for my rhinestones. Obviously, you can do any message you want, and if you're artistic, you can even just paint them on. But I would definitely screw that up, so I just cut the letters out using my Cricut machine and some red vinyl so that I could guarantee it would be perfect. Now, the tricky thing about doing this with the vinyl is that we're working with styrofoam as our canvas, so I knew that my regular transfer tape would be way too sticky and would probably rip off the top layer of the styrofoam if I used it to place the letters. So I actually used washi tape, which is just a craft tape that's not very sticky. It's usually used for decorative things like scrapbooking and can be pretty easily relocated without causing any damage. So I very carefully used a strip of washi tape as my transfer tape and picked the words up one at a time, gently placing them on the heart, and I managed not to rip anything. It worked great. And at this point, I was ready to start rhinestoning. My favorite glue for rhinestone projects is called Gem Tack by the brand Beacon, and I transfer it into a precision tip bottle. I like to use a wax pencil that can be sharpened to pick up and place my rhinestones. There are links in the description box below for everything I'm using in this video. I started by rhinestoning the Be Mine letters. I applied a thin line of gem tack and placed these red rhinestones inside each letter. The stones were basically the exact thickness of the lines of the letters, so that worked out very nicely. I used 3 different sizes of these blue stones to fill in the rest of the heart. These are 2mm, 3mm, and 5mm packs. I started by outlining the outer edge of the heart with the 5mm stones, just applying them side by side all the way around the outside. Next, I used the smallest stones to fill in the space around the letters. I started with the gaps inside the B and the E's, and then outlined each letter and the spaces between them. I alternated between the 2 and 3mm stones as needed to fill the spaces as tightly as possible. For the rest of the surface, I did a variation of the honeycomb method where I alternated between my 3 and 5mm stones side by side. I started in the middle on both sides of the letters. Normally for a honeycomb pattern, you would use all the same size of stone and place the stones in each row to nestle into the cracks between the stones of the previous row. This variation uses that same concept, but using 2 sizes instead of 1. So the 5mm stones go directly beneath the 3mm stones, and the 3mm stones go directly beneath the 5mm stones, and everything still fits into a nice honeycomb. I chose this variation because it just makes it a lot easier to complete the edges of the rows as the heart shape tapers in, and it also just looks a little more whimsical and less uniform than the classic honeycomb. I continued to use some smaller stones as needed to fill the edges or the areas closest to the letters, but overall I was basically able to continue this honeycomb variation for the rest of the project. One thing to note with the styrofoam is that you can't push too hard on the rhinestones or they will dig into it. I had to use a little less pressure than I normally do, and once I placed a stone, it wasn't very easy to move things around. So just be careful not to poke any holes in your foam. I continued my pattern all the way through the bottom of the heart and used my smaller stones to fill in the point at the bottom. Then I did the same thing up to the top, where again I used smaller stones to fill the tiny spaces in the curved edges. Because this is made of styrofoam and I won't be able to wash it like I usually do with my rhinestone projects, I tried to be extra mindful not to be too messy with the glue or the wax residue from my pencil to hopefully keep the stones as clean and sparkly as possible. I think the styrofoam actually soaked up some of the excess glue, so I didn't have to worry too much about it spilling in between the edges of the stones. And that's all there is to it. It's really lightweight, and I'm thinking I'll make a couple more for a set of 3 and just stick them to the wall using command strips. The end result is so sparkly, and I think the Be Mine letters turned out really great. This was a super fun project to do, and I hope you try it out. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and leave a comment letting me know what you would like to see next. See you later!